To the Mondays, come on in and join the Fantasy Addicts Fantasy Football Podcast tonight with me, Mike the Fantasy Addict, and co-host Nikki B.
That is me.
Nikki B, are you excited for the Jets and Patriots?
No.
Hey,
Are
we said
you?
at the beginning of the year we didn't know if we get any football, so any day there's football, no matter what teams are going, I'm happy. I'm going to pay a little bit of attention.
Yeah.
We were just talking before the stream started. Game a couple minutes in right now, 0-0, Patriots versus the Jets. One guy that we did pick up, the only Jets player that I have on any of my 5 teams is Denzel Mims. Rookie, he had some hamstring issues, so he missed some of the early season. Crowder's had his issues going. So do you know if Crowder's active tonight or not?
I did not see, but I see Mims has had a pretty strong start to this game after a 26-yard reception.
All right, so he's a guy that we both just we had some guys that underperformed this week. Yahoo lets you drop players if they weren't in your starting lineup.
Bambo, what's going on?
Welcome I dropped one of my favorites, a guy that I have been a fan of throughout the year. The Warrior, Laviska Shenault.
Do you see what you get when you mess with the Warrior?
Rest in peace.
But
Crowder is playing.
Been underperforming. Okay, Crowder is in. So
Bambo
he's a guy
confirms.
that maybe somebody took a chance on. No, Laviska had a hamstring injury. He's kind of part of his narrative was he's a good player who would get those injuries, and it would hurt him throughout the year. So, although I like Laviska as a player, the Warrior, I'm dropping him on all the places where I held on to him because I was a fan. So Mims was the guy I threw on the bench just because he was still available to be added because their game hadn't gone until tonight.
Some people may still be interested in LaMichael P. Ryan as well.
Yeah, he's a running back.
Yeah, he is a running back.
Who's sort of on an NFL team.
Yeah.
He's healthy as far as we know.
P. Ryan just did get a carry here, but Frank Gore started out with the first 5 carries. So still heavy Gore, but maybe that'll change going forward. But yeah, the Jets are woeful at best, and
honestly, we've got 2 teams. Their records right now: 2-5, 0-8. And wouldn't it be a Bill Belichickian thing to do to lose the 2 games to the Jets to steal the pick away from them?
So that is a very interesting take. I did place a small wager on the Jets for this one, for them to win. Just kind of with that in mind, and the fact that the Jets had a strong showing last week against the Chiefs, at least for 2.5 quarters. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, games are 4 quarters long. But.
That they are. Bambo, my wide receivers are getting me 92.2 points this week. Yeah. No, there are some big performances out there this week.
But yeah, no, it wouldn't shock me if Bill just tells them, guys, pack it in. And
we're on to Cincinnati.
Think about the next one and then lose the next game to the Jets, keep them losing, get that Trevor Lawrence, and win another 7 or 8 Super Bowls.
Cambo Rambo, welcome in. Yo, guys, I made a trade away Amari Cooper and David Johnson for Adam Thielen. My running back is pretty stacked. I have Carson, Robinson, Gibson, Dalvin Cook, picked up Edmonds for now. Yeah, no, that seems pretty good on the running back.
You listed Dalvin last. Like,
you buried the lead there.
Dalvin in big capitals and then like some spaces and then the rest of the guys.
Dalvin Cook is insane right now.
Yeah, Dalvin is. I think I heard that if he continued at his 2-game pace, he would be just under 3,000 yards with 40 touchdowns on the year. So that's pretty good. But
yeah.
I think that Thielen, he's been underperforming in the last 2 games. I also traded for him. He was the wide receiver 2 on the year when I got him. And really, now that we speak of your running back, Dalvin Cook, that's what's hurt Adam Thielen, is Dalvin Cook has been so good that they don't need anybody else on that team to catch any balls. But
exactly,
the Vikings defense has been bad. I do expect Cook to, hate to wish it on. I'm not wishing it on him. Don't mean to jinx your team, but wouldn't shock me if he comes up with an injury against the Bears. So I did grab Alexander Mattison. If you're the Cook owner, I suggest you maybe stash Alexander Mattison, although he had a bad game that he filled in before. Cook's a guy that's the concern, is he's just had injuries in the past. I think the last, 2 or 3 years he's gotten injured, and the Bears, their defense is no joke. They're going to come out in a divisional game, and if they try to give him the volume he's been getting, I am concerned about his health.
I agree. Cambo, Dalvin wins my week single-handedly. Yeah, no, he's been beating me single-handedly so far this year.
I have so far been able to avoid it. So
it's not good when it catches you, when you get a case of the cooks.
Yeah, Irv Smith catching some touchdowns. So Irv Smith is a guy that we had on our co-managed team for a while. I actually dropped him so that we could activate Christian from the injured reserve. Irv Smith is a guy that if you're looking for a tight end that you need to start, I think we've got Travis Kelce coming up on his bye. A couple tight ends. I think Hayden Hurst coming up on his bye. So some of the guys that you've been playing at tight end, if you're looking for somebody to grab, if Irv Smith is out there, you could do worse.
I think Irv Smith, just like the rest of the tight end pool, is very touchdown dependent. If you don't get the touchdown, then
I think that guys you're looking at to fill in for your good tight ends that are on bye, I think they are touchdown dependent. But what you're then doing is trying to pick who's got the best chance of a touchdown. And I think Irv Smith.
And their game should lead into that, where their defense is bad enough that they're going to have to try and throw the ball.
Yeah, the Bears they're not great against the tight ends. I'd have to look to see what their exact ranking is. I'm trying to think if any tight ends really beat up on them. Nobody comes to mind. But I would expect that, perhaps
Jared Cook would be the only one.
If I was guessing, I might say they could be a Thielen game, but
I feel like you say that because you own
I hope I say it with some hope.
Bambo, you changed your name color on here. Now it just blends in with the night mode. So now you're just
we got to highlight the BAM. So it goes BAM.
Exactly.
It's like, it just sneaks up on you like, dark. Who's this dark name? BAM.
Oh, just letters.
There it is.
Banjo Matatu.
Prime time is Jefferson time. What do we have? One game sample size for that? But if you say so.
I want more Jefferson.
Have they not just relegated the Bears to the least watched time slot for the rest of the year after that horrible offensive It
was bad.
It was so bad. And if you looked at the score at the end, you'd be like, oh, no, the Bears, they were kind of in it. If you looked at Foles' stat line for fantasy, but no. It was just 3 quarters of the worst offense.
All right, let's go into some studs this week, though.
All right.
Josh Allen getting it done.
The Stallion,
400 passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown as well. Killing it. Kyler Murray, 106 yards of rushing and a rushing touchdown.
So Kyler was one that I took a shot on. I got him, I think, as my quarterback in 2 leagues, and it's paying off. It's working out. So they actually ended up losing that game to the Miami Dolphins in Tua. Tua time, man.
Tua looked okay.
Yeah. What does he equal? Equals the winner this week, right?
He equals.
Yeah. So you're saying there's a chance?
I like the call before. He equals RG3, maybe his good season. I don't know. 3 injury RG3. Maybe.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I was entertained watching Tua do some things.
Bambo says I got Damian Harrison tonight.
So
he's shown so far. So.
One of the leagues that Nick and I play together, my brother's in. I think he needs 5 points out of Damian Harris tonight. So Damian was questionable a little bit this week. Is Sony Michel active in this game? We should probably glance at that. But I know he was practicing this week, and I'm not sure if he actually went ahead and made it back into the game. He was on the IR for a while.
He is out.
Okay, so out this week, but probably back next week. Sony Michel, I worry about Damian Harris if Sony's there. Any given week, Rex Burkhead will just show up and have a good week.
Yeah, just to ruin what you thought.
Haven't got a lot out of James White. Now that everybody probably just dropped James White, it'll be his time to get 7 receptions and a touchdown.
Right, exactly.
So the Patriots backfield, there's just a lot of running backs there. Cam can always vulture the touchdowns. That's kind of been their best weapon in the red zone. And just overall, that whole offense isn't getting things going. They're going to try and lose to the Jets on purpose so they can steal their pick, and Gase will fall for it. Man, a lot of reasons that I don't want to play any Patriots.
Yeah, no, I am sticking with no Jets, no Patriots, no Eagles. Now the list is growing.
It's growing. No, I'm going to throw Bears on the list.
It's going to be no Bears pretty soon once Allen Robinson doesn't catch any passes. It's probably no 49ers as well. The list keeps growing, unfortunately. But, we're here to pivot and see what happens.
The snozberries taste like snozberries.
I'm having trouble finding out where to put that in as a drop.
But here it is.
Hey, there's just snozberries everywhere. The teams that are bad, they're bad.
Some other quarterbacks that had really good weeks: Patty Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Teddy Bridgewater, Drew Lock with the garbage time, Ben Roethlisberger, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns.
So let me talk about Big Ben since you brought his name up. Kind of had a little bit of an injury, played through it the rest of that game. Sounds like he's going to go next week. He is my backup in Dynasty. I've been holding him all year just to play basically this coming week while Pat Mahomes is off.
And, of course, he's going to be on bye and hurt.
And so, again, Mahomes is on bye this coming week. Roethlisberger is not on bye, but he's got the knee injuries. He's a little bit of a concern. Do you go out and do you grab gluten? Do you grab the glutenator?
No, you
go with
gluten.
Ben with the banged
plays,
up knees.
You throw Ben in there.
I gotta double check if he's at home or away. I didn't even. I knew that he wasn't on the bye because that's the main reason.
Don't
I
get
had
gluten
him.
with it.
Gluten putting up numbers, man.
This is Chris Herndon.
Booty scooting
right
gluten.
Now. Maybe, probably not. All right, some other.
Chris Herndon has been such a letdown of a guy that's like, there's nobody that's any good on that team, and I thought Chris Herndon might have a little bit of talent. People had a little bit of hype around him. He was going to get the targets, and he's just not come to fruition.
Nope,
man.
It's
Never going to be Herndon time.
Luton is playing us. Yeah.
The Luton.
Already. What about Dalvin Cook's big week? 206 rushing, 2 touchdowns.
I don't know. Like,
2 receptions for 46
yards. It was very,
yards.
very good. If he's healthy, he's great. You play him, but I would have concerns about his health. But even if I was just super concerned he was going to get hurt, I wouldn't trade him away. I would just hold on to him and ride it until the legs fall off.
I 100% agree. Richie James coming out of nowhere from nothing and then going 9 for 184 and a touchdown, and an offenseless 49ers team right now with no quarterback or tight end or wide receivers.
Yeah, hopefully they'll get some of their guys back. And, but, man, it's a mess.
Think they would, if not this week,
next week. It's a lost season for the 49ers in a lot of ways.
After the Garoppolo injury last year, it's back-to-back lost seasons. I don't know. That's a rough situation there. Drew Lock, we talked about, had some garbage time points. Devontae Adams, 10 for 173 and a touchdown. Devontae's still good. Tyreek Hill getting over the century mark as well, 9 for 113 and 2 touchdowns.
So they are at home against Cincinnati, which was part of the reasoning of, I think you got to go with Ben if he's active, but I'm concerned about the knees.
Yeah.
Bless the knees.
I think how he hurt both knees. You don't see that very often.
That's too many knees to hurt.
Tyreek Hill had 18 targets, so just shoving in my face my whole he doesn't get targeted argument.
Yeah, you're very wrong.
Christian McCaffrey, 69 rushing yards, nice. Touchdown, 10 targets, 10 receptions, 82 yards and a touchdown.
Yep, he's
still CMC.
The rumors of Mike Davis splitting time were greatly exaggerated.
Yeah, not happening.
But Christian coming up with a shoulder injury, it looks like, and is questionable.
Yep.
If he had to miss, I hope he just misses 1 week. And if it's going to be the week that Mahomes is out, I'll just take the loss. There's no Mahomes, no Christian. That's the whole team. They combined for more than the whole rest of my team combined this past week. And that's how the team is built. So that's my dynasty team. And you know what? I just hope that he's not gone again for an extended amount of time. If he misses a week, okay. He came back and helped me beat Nick this week, so I did take down Nick. Together for the season. In our heads-up matchups, Nick has got 1 win and I have 1. He won in the redraft. I won, or in the redraft keeper league, and I won in the dynasty. So,
yeah, it was a tough loss, but I'll be fine.
Let's see. I'm trying to.
Cam Newton, 5-yard rushing touchdown. Bambo had in the chat
Cam.
As well. So,
is anyone playing Cam anywhere, or have we all lost faith?
No,
if he has a good game, do you think maybe I grab Cam again?
No. A lot of good quarterback weeks. This is why you can stream them. Russell Wilson, Drew Brees, Justin Herbert, Nick Foles somehow, Matt Ryan, Deshaun Watson, all these guys over 30 points, Luton over 30 points. That's why you can stream the position. Other skill position players, we have DJ Shark, after the huge 73-yard touchdown at the beginning of the game, finishes with 7 for 142 and a touchdown.
Yeah. Who was the number 6 kicker on the week?
The number 6 kicker on the week? Do you just want me to say Young Ho? Is that just for the drop?
I think he had 14.5 points. So Young Ho Koo has actually been pretty good. And a sad fun fact, Nick and I, we pivoted from Zerline, who had kind of a rough start of the year, and we went with Will Lutz of the Saints, who's very good. But this past week, Greg Zerline, the top kicker, with 19 points in the format I'm looking at. So he's actually had 2 good games in a row, and the matchups haven't been great.
Well, so the difference is at the beginning of the year, they were just scoring a lot of touchdowns.
So he had 16 points against Philly and 19 points against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was actually giving up the 29th It was the 29th best, or no?
No, I think Legatron is going to have a much better season from here on out because they're not going to be able to score.
I think that's a good point. So. If he's out there and people lost faith early,
they have enough running back and wide receiver skill to get across midfield, but they may not be able to capitalize.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting how they held with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Gave them a bit of a scare this past week. Nobody thought they were going to be in it at all, and they were out. They were out there. They were competitive. Zeke didn't have a great fantasy day, but he was out there. He looked healthy.
Yeah, he looked okay. It was just a bad game for the whole offensive side of things. I guess they got some garbage time points, so it worked.
My guy, CeeDee Lamb, though, came through and had a touchdown.
He did.
I was pressed into playing him because Calvin Ridley was out, so I had to start him, and he actually got me a touchdown. So I was happy about that.
Yeah.
Where's the lamb?
Also, if you were wondering where the Lamb was, he was getting a nice little toe touch catch at the end of the game.
That was a nice haul.
Made couple of the highlight reels I was watching. So CeeDee Lamb, he's a good player.
Banjo, disappointed they're planning to bring Dalton back if he's better after the bye.
Yeah, the quarterback that they had in,
Dalton's good.
I'm searching my brain for his
DiNucci?
name. No, was it? I don't think it was DiNucci, was it?
I think
they
one
moved
last
on
time
from DiNucci
Gilbert?
this past game. Was it Gilbert?
Gilbert was this one.
What's Gilbert's first name? Do you know that?
I don't know. You may make one up.
Anyways, Gilbert. Yeah, so Gilbert Grape goes in and actually looked okay. Again, they were playing against a very good defense in the Pittsburgh Steelers to come in.
Gilbert.
All right, Garrett Gilbert. I thought he looked better than DiNucci by a country mile, and maybe the Cowboys player pieces aren't worthless. I think Amari Cooper in my one league had 10 points.
Everybody's freaking out. Andy Dalton's going to come back. He's not going to get a concussion this time, and your players will still get targets, and it'll be okay.
I don't know, man. He was not inspiring in his first two games.
Scary Terry, 7 for 115 and a touchdown.
Yeah, Terry's good.
Travis Kelce, 10 for 159.
Travis Kelce is super good. And being a tight end.
They had the stat today that on the season he would be wide receiver 4.
In our co-managed league, I sent out an offer, Gurley and Thielen for Travis Kelce, and I think there is a 1% or less chance that the person would take that offer. But
yeah,
I'm trying to shop the girl. He got another touchdown.
I mean, Kelce's in consideration to be taken in the first round of drafts.
Yeah, I think that it depends on how you're planning to build your team, but if you have a couple wide receivers you like later, in hindsight, this year, what you would have had to done is, I think just load up on running backs. But
especially in keeper leagues, if you have young receiver depth for keeper teams and Kelsey's in the pool to get picked up, I'd draft him early. I mean, he fills out the roster nicely in the tight end spot.
Yeah, and again, there's no way to know who's going to get hurt. You can kind of predict a little bit based on guys' injury history, but
right. But if you take a hit at the wide receiver position, you can still find guys
you
to
go
flex
get
that'll
full
get you 10
Flugelhorn or Foghorn Leghorn, and
or
a guy
Cole
that
Beasley.
nobody's heard of.
I mean, I'd rather start Cole Beasley.
Throw Zacchaeus in, you would have been all right this week.
Eric Ebron, who happened to catch a touchdown this week.
Yeah, Ebron's going to do that sometimes, but overall. Yeah, it's just right now the landscape for running back. Hopefully some guys, it sounds like Miles Sanders and Nick Chubb are coming back. We'll see if Nick Chubb coming back helps the Browns as a whole and then in turn helps Kareem Hunt. But Kareem Hunt was doing better when Chubb was there than when he wasn't. People, myself included, I tried to trade for Kareem Hunt in a lot of places when Chubb went down thinking that he was going to be.
What's up, NBA? Welcome in. Thanks for joining us.
Good evening.
Jerry Jeudy, 7 for 125 and a touchdown. Really good.
Is Judge Judy.
Marcio,
Judy.
Where are you to call
out
making that drop happen? 14 targets.
Yeah, no, so that was a good matchup. He was also on our bench for the co-managed team, and I had considered maybe throwing him in over Robbie Anderson this week. Kansas City wasn't a great matchup for wide receivers. Robbie came through, got like 15 points.
I'm getting Trubisky vibes here from Drew Lock.
I have a question that I want.
Yeah.
DJ Moore in a dynasty league. Let's say you're the owner of DJ Moore. Are you just holding, or you're not trying to sell him right now because you'd be selling low, right? Are you trying to buy DJ Moore? Talk about DJ Moore. I need more.
Again, it's situation. Moore is a sell. I'm almost with that line of thought. So I'm in the dynasty theory of you can only plan for the next 2-3 years ahead of you because who knows what happens with injuries and whatnot. So plan short term. DJ Moore is going to be there for another couple seasons, and then what? I mean, there's no plan. I'm out.
Which brings me back to the question of what do you do in Dynasty? Like, are you trying
think
to
you can-
package him for a trade maybe?
I think you, just like any other player I'm trying to trade, hope they have 2 good weeks and trade them.
Yeah, if the DJ Moore owner comes to me and they're trying to trade some other piece and I can get DJ Moore as a throw-in, I like that a lot because I think he's talented.
Right.
The situation has been bad. Robbie Anderson has hurt him a lot. But I still think he's a young, talented wide receiver. And I think that, it depends. Like
I mean, if DJ Moore goes to, I don't know, Houston or Green Bay.
Exactly.
You feel great.
I don't know that they do any kind of trade kind of thing, but you're right. He's got a couple more years on his contract, his rookie contract, I believe, with the Panthers.
Do you want players based on position or players based on skill?
So you want players in Dynasty largely based on opportunity, but because it is a long game, if you can grab some of these guys that are talented that, in a year or two, if their situation changed, if they went somewhere else, that they could be a juggernaut or be the wide receiver 1 on a team potentially. If you can get those guys and put them on your bench and have them to kind of use, especially because our starting positions is actually, 3 wide receivers, 2 flex.
I think he's got more value than that. NBA in Dynasty formats for sure. If it's set in a 4-player trade, he's a great 4th ranked player.
For redraft, if you could get anything for him just based off the name, but he has not lived up to where people drafted him.
Yeah, I mean, would you rather have DJ Moore or Brandon Cooks?
I'd rather have Brandon Cooks. I'd rather have here's one for you. Chase Claypool of the Pittsburgh Steelers. How was his week? I didn't even glance at his numbers.
He had an okay week. He
had a couple of receptions,
I
no
thought
touchdown.
He caught a touchdown. I thought
Did he catch one?
That was like 50 yards and a touchdown. I could be wrong there.
But that's a guy that's kind of in that level of you might be looking at him or people in that range. T. Higgins, they were on bye this week. But
I'd rather have T. Higgins.
Good. I'd rather have T.
DJ
Higgins.
Moore.
Justin Jefferson, I have a little bit of
Claypool,
pause.
no touchdown. He had 13 targets, 8 catches for 69 yards.
So 13 targets is interesting.
I believe
Deontay Johnson played the whole game. James Washington had a touchdown in that game.
Yeah, no, you would like to see Claypool coexist.
Yeah, Big Ben in that game had 30-plus points, I believe, in the format that we were playing in our Dynasty. So
Claypool is younger and faster and wider range, so he has higher value in Dynasty. Then DJ Moore, I don't know if I would agree with that in Dynasty. Here's the thing. I would agree with that assessment, but I don't know that people online would rank it that way. I think most people still have DJ Moore ahead.
Yeah, if you looked up like a Fantasy Pros Dynasty
whether that's right or
rankings,
wrong, I just think
I think the DJ Moore would be higher. But Claypool's young, and again, he's got that build. He's looked good so far. They're using him. Juju's probably gone next year, so I could see, if you could make that move. But
is Roethlisberger gone next year?
That's a good
because
question.
That changes.
They were
everything.
very bad last year without him. I don't believe they have a very high draft pick in the upcoming draft. They're not going to be in contention.
That's my problem with dynasty pieces from the Steelers is you don't have a young quarterback situation there.
That is true, but the Steelers are well organized. They're a good organization. They could bring in a guy who's,
I mean, they almost made the playoffs last year with Garbo at the quarterback position.
Yeah, they could draft somebody and develop him, and then they could have. I'm trying to think what kind of quarterbacks are coming on the free agency market. Cam probably not a fit, but
I was listening to the score yesterday or the day before. They said by early estimates, as many as half of the NFL teams could switch quarterbacks next season. So the quarterback they're starting right now.
Are they just making up numbers?
No, based on contracts, there's going to be so many free agents and teams not happy with their quarterback situation now. And draft, they said there's going to be that many changes. Juju next year, landing spot is a great mystery. Here's the thing:
does he feel like an
not
eagle?
Paying up as much for wide receivers or running backs, mostly running backs, except Keenan Allen and AJ Green are still getting contracts.
So I don't think the Packers would pay him, but places that could use wide receivers: the Eagles, the Green Bay Packers. Trying to think.
I don't think the Eagles can pay a wide receiver.
People
just at face value after drafting them in like the first round and 2 out of the 3 last drafts.
Miami could make a move for a higher level wide receiver.
What do you predict Juju's next contract to be? Patriots?
No, I don't think. Again, he's not. I don't know that he fits the Patriots mold exactly.
Yeah, I don't.
If I had to, the Eagles would be a good spot for him. I don't think the Packers would pay him.
Saints, maybe?
The Jets. He could go somewhere bad. He'd go to the Jaguars. He'd go to the Jets.
Does he seem like the guy that just wants to get money?
Juju,
not as much about.
I think Juju likes to play. I think he likes football.
The team aspect.
He's active in charity stuff, and I think he's a decent guy, and I think he's got a good attitude. You don't hear bad talk about Juju, and he could. He's a guy that probably was expecting to be the number one wide receiver.
I think
now
maybe Jerry Jones just makes a phone call and adds another one on top of it, or the Bucks.
I don't think the Cowboys
is going.
I don't think the Cowboys are adding a wide receiver for a while.
Rodgers is gone next week to 49ers, so maybe not Green Bay. Juju to Chicago.
No. Just don't waste your time.
Yeah. What are these?
Oh, they just love some Jets Patriots, man.
Imagine A-Rob, Moody, and Juju, and who's throwing them the ball in this situation?
Yeah, that is. Oh no, is it Aaron Rodgers?
Jameis Winston.
Jameis, I don't like that. I don't want Jameis.
At this point, I'll try anything.
Jameis.
I just want the ride to be over.
But it's just we've been Bears fans long enough to know that then it's just the same ride again the next year with a new guy.
I know.
I was ready for Mitch to come back in that game after Foles just did nothing for so long. It was awful.
You think Mitch would have been better, but no, it was pretty benign.
You know what he would have done?
Big Mama's handing out biscuits, baby.
That's not them biscuits, right?
No.
To Mooney. Now that Mooney's on there, but
Christian Kirk, 5 for 123 and a touchdown, looked pretty good last night.
yeah.
Let's see, DK Metcalf, 7 for 108 and a touchdown after a down week last week, getting back on track.
Yeah, DK's good.
Yeah, he's really good. It was still some garbage time points here, but got it done at the end.
Yeah, Jameis, at least he can throw the ball, but he throws it to the other team more as much as he throws it to your guys. But if the Bears defense could, I don't know. If they could just score a couple touchdowns and the Bears defense could get back those turnovers,
if you can score,
I'm starting to warm up to the idea. I like that Jameis has been behind Drew Brees and on the Saints, which is a well-coached, well-run team. Maybe he's picked up a little bit of, coaching there.
Here's the thing. If the Bears can score 21 points a game, they will win a lot of them. A lot of them.
Yeah, you're winning me over. They don't have many years left on that defense being kind of what they are. It'll be interesting what kind of contracts they can lock up there. I'm not sure exactly who's going to be free agent, what they got to rework, but I think they got most of the guys locked up pretty good. That new guy that they got, whose name I forget, the defensive player, he hasn't been great this year. That's been a disappointment, but Bears defense in that game, even though the Titans put up points, the Bears defense played very well.
Right. Will Fuller got to the century mark, 5 for 100 and touchdown. Zacchaeus, somebody maybe streamed him this week, got it done in the first quarter.
Let's give Will Fuller some love for not being hurt. I know that now I said that he's going down, but he's injury prone, and so far so good.
Would you like Darnold from Jets to Chicago? Honestly, I'll try anything at this point.
Darnold feels like he'd be more of the same.
Throw Rosen in there. Throw Rosen there for a season and tank.
No.
And see if that's anything.
I hate all of these ideas. These are just bad ideas.
Can I offer you a nice egg in this trying time?
You don't want any more eggs. We just keep getting eggs.
Trey Khalil Mack for the first overall pick.
There you go. And now
Trevor
you're
Lawrence.
talking. Oh, if they could just trade the whole team for Trevor, it might be the way to go for the Bears. But they'll screw him up, and then he won't be good. They'll ruin him. The Bears ruin quarterbacks.
That's true.
If Mitch had gone to Kansas City, maybe Mitch is good. I don't know that I go that far, but maybe. Would Pat Mahomes be what he is if he went to the Bears? Probably not. It's
I don't know. Trade him to the Bears and find out.
They have a long history of not having good quarterbacks, and I don't know if it's the quarterback's fault or if it's their fault.
Just hypothetically here, if the Bears called the Chiefs and said, "Hey, how much for Mahomes?" What's the amount?
There's no amount
or is there
that they could give them. Every 10 years of first round draft pick.
There's
just
there's
not.
nothing.
I can't. It bottles the mind. Right?
The next 10 first round picks.
Yeah,
is that a thing?
They would just laugh at them. Yeah, if you're the Bears, you're like, hey, can we get Pat? No.
What if you trade him Khalil Mack in the next 10 first round picks?
It would be something on that level of outrageous, and it would just ruin the team because, again, Pat would go there. He wouldn't be good because they wouldn't have any players that are good because they traded away all their picks.
What if Andy Reid was rolled into the deal?
it still wouldn't matter. Like that's how you make good NFL teams is you get good draft picks. Like that's how you build a good team. You pick well in the draft. You develop the talent because those guys, even though they're elite talents, they're there on a cheap deal because you got them on their rookie contract.
So should we become Chiefs fans then?
Kind of already am with Pat Mahomes, my dynasty quarterback. Let's see here. I gotta find my. Hold on, I gotta find my Pat.
9 for 118.
There you go, Patty, the dynasty quarterback.
AJ Brown, 4 for 101 and a touchdown.
AJ Brown was
Bears.
good. On the opposite side of him, Corey Davis was 0 points in that game. So,
Gooser. But then again,
I think
that's what Corey Davis does.
You can go back to Corey Davis. I think he'll have better days.
Bambo McCaffrey injured again. I know.
Yeah, we'll have to see how bad it is. I haven't seen an official report, but I'm hoping for a 1 week at most kind of deal.
Yeah. Injury prone's in the chat, maybe?
Yeah, this year he is. Last year he was an Iron Man. I think 2 years ago he had a bit of a wrist issue, but it's tough when you get that kind of volume. Again, to a tiny extent, it was nice very much to see him get huge volume and get a ton of points as the owner, but like maybe they should have eased him back a little more. It's hard to tell, but you get in the heat of the game, you want to win, and he gives you the best chance. They almost beat Kansas City,
I know,
which would have been a huge win for the Panthers. Missed a field goal at the end.
Brian Judd, thank you for the follow.
Welcome Judd?
Welcome in. Rebuild is the worst for Chicago fans. Again, if we're gonna rebuild, I'm fine with it. But
I don't think you're in rebuild though, because your defense is still good enough to win now.
Get the first pick.
You've got Khalil.
That's the issue. That's the issue. But this isn't a Bears.
They've won enough games already not to get a good pick. I think they gotta go for it again with another. Like Jameis Winston is a good one. The more we sit here, the more I'm thinking Jameis makes sense for the Bears. Because you can't just keep going with these guys who are like, maybe he can be a game manager and the defense can win. I think we've moved into you got to get a guy who can score points even if he turns the ball over.
You have to score points. That's the only thing that's important in the NFL today is you have to score points. Defense is secondary, obviously, because look at
it's not only score points. The Falcons are a great example of a team that scored a ton of points and kept losing.
But they throw games.
The Cowboys were a good example of a team that scored a ton of points and kept losing. You need both.
What about the Seahawks? They lost this week, but they scored a bunch of points. They give up points.
Their defense,
the Saints tried to do it 3 or 4 years ago with the worst defense.
Their secondary is bad, but their run defense is good. The Seattle Seahawks defense it's better than the Cowboys, and again, there's a balance. You need some level of defense.
Bambo's in here just trolling in the chat.
Yeah, no, we
don't appreciate that.
I wasn't responsible for the Pat Mahomes non-pick by the Bears. I blame them.
There's a lot of other teams that didn't take Patrick Mahomes. All right,
you are so dumb.
They did overwork CMC first game back. Mike Davis was very good backup that winning overtakes franchise.
Nothing for you.
Just so many
CMC
drops
to
capture how bad the Bears blew it. Oh, they blew it. Patty's so good. He looks so good at football.
Any of those teams, Bears defense would be winning.
But yeah, I know.
I think is you can't win a championship without an elite quarterback. In recent memory,
they almost won it with Rex Grossman.
But they didn't.
No, they did not.
Okay, Foles is maybe your best example.
Yeah, and
then the gimpy Peyton Manning is your next example against Cam, where the defense won them the championship. But again,
it's hard. It's hard to do.
It is rare. You have to have a really good quarterback.
You just get Foles out there again. Foles can do it. He's done it before, right?
Only 9 other teams. We
just need him to give us everything he's got.
A third of the league. A third of the league passed on him. That is the most annoying.
Yeah, well, people pass on Aaron Rodgers. People pass on Tom Brady. It happens. You don't always know.
Not everybody knows.
But again, just
missed it by that much.
Maybe the next one. Maybe they hit on the next one.
Alex Smith got into a game, 325 passing, 3 touchdowns.
Yep. Finished it without having a catastrophic injury, so that's always kind of the best thing for Alex.
Somewhat something to note, I guess.
Didn't hurt Terry McLaurin. Terry still had a very good day.
Yep. Not a whole other great weeks from players. McKinnon got you a touchdown if you had to spot start McKinnon, 52-1.
Yeah, do you go back to McKinnon though? I got him on the bench, and it's one of those that I look at him like, maybe he could get you 15, but I think he could as easily have 3 rushes for 3 yards. He hasn't been a great rusher. That game he got in for the touchdown in short yardage situations. So.
Yeah, exactly, Bambo. Can you imagine DK on the frickin' Green Bay Packers right now?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
That'd be
No, I
awful.
can't. I don't want that. I don't like that at all. That
NBA
sounds-
Payton was a classic example. Wasted arm. Darnold would be upgrade comp to the that year's Payton in
So
Denver.
here's
Yeah,
another
I would agree.
fun little fact that when I was kind of listening to things, going over the numbers, Kalen Balazs coming into Miami. I thought
The
that
Bellagio.
perhaps Jordan Howard would be the guy. He only got 10 rushes. He did get the touchdown, so I did grab him. I started him in a spot, but I'm going to drop him all over the place. I was just wanted to see if he was going to get 15 to 20 rushes and actually get some yardage, but he was what he's been before the rest of this year. I thought maybe the opportunity would go up, but it didn't. Kalen Balazs came in, and Kalen Balazs.
Did you say Jordan Howard?
Yes.
Jordan Howard plays for Miami.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I not say Miami?
Kalen Balazs doesn't play for Miami.
Kalen Balazs does play for Miami, and he had a good game. Look it up.
Whoa. We talking about the same
I
person
didn't know
there?
all that, so I'm sorry.
The Bellagio, yes, former player on Nick's Dynasty team who. Wait, am I right?
I think you're wrong.
I think I'm right.
Yeah, no, he played for Arizona. He was
Oh,
on
is it?
Arizona's.
Oh, who am I thinking of? There was a Miami Dolphin player that they had on the practice squad. They activated. I thought it was Kalen Balazs.
No. Kalen
Kalen
Balazs
didn't
is not even on that team.
What?
Well, Balazs had he played.
I gotta look into it.
Yeah, for Chargers. That's right. He was playing for the Chargers.
All right, that's where Balazs was at. I did see him pop up. I guess I thought he was
NBA. He did play for Miami, and that's when I owned him. And then I traded him away, and then he went to the Jets.
So, right
And
guy,
the Jets cut him.
right situation, wrong team. So he went to the Chargers, and he was getting time now that Justin Jackson went down on the first
Right.
play and goosed everybody. So
Yeah,
he
he
had
was
15
ducking.
rush attempts, 69 rush yards, a rushing TD, 3 targets, 2 receptions. And what I was going to say when I got off track, I was getting my teams mixed up, is that he got away from Adam Gase, and he became good at football. That's what everybody does. They get away from Adam Gase, and
But
all
he
of a sudden they're good at football.
He didn't have to go to Adam Gase.
Kalen Balazs.
Adam Gase left him, and he was still
and then
bad
he
in
came back
Miami.
again, and then Robbie Anderson got away. Tannehill got away. There's just a number of guys that have got away from him and been good. So if Sam Darnold
Why
gets
didn't
away,
why didn't it work with Cutler?
if Sam Darnold gets away from Adam Gase and
Cutler
comes,
got away from him.
and comes over to the Bears, maybe he follows the trend and is a guy that becomes great after getting away from Gase.
NBA says Balazs or Wilkins next week. It can't be that bad, can it?
So now who was getting the Miami carries besides Jordan Howard? Then who would they?
No, it was just that bad.
Did Tannehill get any or not Tannehill?
Burita?
No, the other
Burita was active, I think.
Laird. Did Laird? Let me look at Laird's numbers real quick. So he only had 2.6 points, and he had -1 rush yards, and they won, and they scored 30+ points.
The defense
It's
had
just
a lot of points.
I thought they had one defensive touchdown.
Alrighty. NBA.
I think
Seriously,
I go
is
with
it that bad?
Balazs
You have
next
to start
week.
one of those?
Balazs had a very good stat line.
they
Josh
really gonna
Kelly
start
hasn't
him
been
again?
good enough to start. Austin Eckler's still out. But if Justin Jackson's still out, which it looks like you will be, I think that you go with Balazs. I think you can fire him up. I might be grabbing him
Kelly
on some
didn't look
waivers.
good, so yeah,
No, Kelly has not
Fine.
looked good.
fine. Start Balazs, I guess. I don't want to start Wilkins, that's for sure. But if I don't want to. Any news on Eckler? Not anything that I've heard. No. So Chubb's supposed to be practicing, but
No, I'm hoping
no
for
Eckler
week
news.
11 is kind of.
All right,
I heard week 10, 11, or 12, and I'm hoping for 11.
let's check the waivers here. In un momento.
All right, we'll talk about it.
Alrighty.
And maybe we'll post it to YouTube in time that people can see it before their waivers run this time.
Curtis Samuel.
Curtis Samuel, he's had 2 good games in a row. I still don't trust Curtis Samuel. Don't want him.
Alrighty. Kalen Balazs.
Kalen Balazs, I'd take a chance on. I'd pick him up, especially I think you can get a couple weeks out of him while Austin Eckler's out.
Bambo says Moss or Singletary at flex this week.
I want to play Moss. I think Moss has the more valuable touches, getting the red zone carries.
I am as well.
Had touchdowns in the past 2 weeks.
Duke Johnson.
Duke Johnson, I'd take a chance on. I don't know how long David Johnson's going to be out. It was a concussion, correct? Sometimes guys bounce back from those pretty quickly.
Geode. Welcome in. Thank you for the
Geode.
follow. What to do with Zeke Elliott?
So Ezekiel Elliott, I
Gotta
would trade
hold.
if I could get something good for him. Just on the name alone, he did play. He didn't have a great week. I think that's 2 or 3 bad weeks in a row. That team's in decline. I think they kind of got things going with their new quarterback. Was it Gilbert Grape?
I'm not worried about Zeke Elliott that much. I'm an owner. I don't feel like he's got his highest ceiling now, obviously, with how the team's working out, and the offensive line has not looked great.
And they have tough matchups coming up. Let me pull up real quick what their matchups are going forward, because that's part of the equation as well. I think if you look on it and you're looking at the color on Yahoo, it's all red coming up here.
I know Andy Dalton didn't look good.
So
I understand that.
They have their bye week, and then Minnesota, where you can probably play them, and then they have Washington, who's actually been pretty good against the run, Baltimore, who's the second best against the run, and then they have Cincinnati, where you can play them again in week 14 and 15. They got San Francisco, that's the best against the run, and then Philly, the 25th against the run. It's just like a pretty tough schedule coming up. They showed a little bit of life going against the Steelers. That gives you a little bit of hope. The narrative was kind of that the whole team was packing it in, that McCarthy had lost the locker room, but they showed up, they played hard. So I think what I saw in that game, even though Zeke didn't have a great week, it gives me a little bit of hope for Zeke for the rest of the year. But I've got him in one, and I tried to trade him away for a couple of different players. But the hard thing is there's just not a lot of guys.
Perriman with the touchdown.
You can go out
got
and
the
get.
call there. Pretty good throw from Flacco. Just
The
launching
Flack
that
attack. Again, I think he
50
is
yarder.
just above Johnny Unitas on the all-time passing yards, and he was chasing somebody else who was just much better than him as a quarterback. But you stay long enough, like Frank Gore, and you start creeping up those boards.
49ers is bad against the run the last 4 weeks, so they can be run on.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Again,
And
certain teams
worth noting that half their team was gone on the COVID IR and things. And again, if their
Exactly.
offense does better, their defense will in turn be better against the run.
Andy Dalton won't be as bad as he started out to be once he comes back. The team will look a little bit better, I have a feeling, and I think Zeke will be okay.
But again, the hamstring issue is another thing. He played through it. He looked pretty healthy. We'll see if he pops up as questionable this week or if he's just practicing in full. But that's something to keep an eye on. I'm trying to think who you could trade Zeke away for, though. Like, would you rather have Kareem Hunt or Zeke the rest of the season?
Zeke.
Would you try and trade him for an injured Austin Eckler and try to piece together some players to get through these next couple of weeks?
No, I feel like I'd still rather have Zeke.
It'd be interesting to see. You'd have to package Zeke and somebody else to get Christian, but if Christian has a shoulder injury and the person that's got him is concerned about injuries, let's say that you find out Christian's going to miss 2 weeks and you could get Mike Davis. Like, you probably don't make that move, do you?
No, not at all. Try for Chris Carson.
Chris Carson, I like it. I like Chris
all.
Carson. I think he'll be back this coming week. Chris Carson's been good when he's been out there. DJ Dallas came on and showed some life, but he's not going to be a guy that pushes for Chris Carson's carries once Carson's back.
And he's saying, would you trade Zeke for Chris Carson?
Yeah, I would trade Zeke away for Chris Carson, I think.
That's interesting. I personally would not. Pollard or Madison, who's a better handcuff? I'd say Madison, honestly. Their offense seems to be a little more competent.
Yeah, the only thing with Madison is that he did have that one game where he had the opportunity and he was not good, but he's shown in the past a couple times where he's been decent. This past week he had a couple points, fairly decent yardage. So I think, Madison, and if I had to bet on which guy their running backs in front of him is going to go down, I would bet that even though Cook's been phenomenal.
That's why he's the better handcuff, because
higher
Zeke
chance
is
that
much more vulnerable to missing more than 1 week. Zeke may miss a week here and there, but again.
So I think you meant Cook. You might have misspoke, but that's I get what you're saying. Cook is the guy that we would both expect to have more injury potential, even though Zeke had the quad, or the hammy, but he played through it.
Okay, with Mike Thomas back, would Sanders be worth a flex?
So Emmanuel Sanders.
Emmanuel
Sanders did get a touchdown in this last game. I think if you're desperate, you could do it.
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't look too far into the NBA.
Man, the Saints smoking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
But Emmanuel Sanders, again, the second receiving option for Drew Brees usually isn't super valuable.
So you put Emmanuel over Traquan, though, because Traquan was also getting some work in that game.
Interested either. I'm not interested in any of the rest of the Jets' offensive pieces except Kamara, Cook, and
the Saints,
and Thomas. Yeah.
Joe Montana, yeah.
Alrighty. Other popular pickups, Mike Davis, obviously. Some people dropped him with Christian back.
Yeah, so just run back out there and get Davis if somebody made that move.
Emmanuel's great for real football for this team, but for fantasy, I don't think he's going to work out, unfortunately. But yeah, no, for real football, he's great. Wayne Gallman, another popular pickup. He's probably owned in a lot of leagues since they're struggling at the running back position in New York, but he is an option. Any interest?
I'm not a Gallman man. No, I don't want to buy. I don't want to buy pieces of the Giants either. Evan Ingram, the tight end, is the only one I like. I looked up recently. I think Evan Ingram had either the third or fourth most targets for a tight end on the year.
Interesting. More Jimmy Grandpa pickups here.
Yeah, Jimmy Graham was also pretty high on the list as far as targets and fantasy points for the tight end. Man, the Bears though. Maybe they'll figure it out. Maybe they'll get better. But this past week, if you watch that game, was just again we had my dad, Bear fan Paul, was in there just every time they punted, and it was every 3 minutes. He was just like Bears punt.
It was
Bears
painful.
punt.
It was showing you how well the defense was actually doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Because all that they were doing is giving the ball back.
Yep.
Like as soon as they got it.
Yep.
David Montgomery was terrible. He has a concussion right now, or is in the protocol at least. Another guy played J.K. Dobbins for the Ravens. He underperformed. He didn't have a lot of points. They were playing the Colts, though, which is worth noting, who has a very good run defense. I think they're tied for the second best in the NFL.
That's another interesting one. Bambo says, do I pick up Drake?
I think that if Drake is out there, I would have him on a bench spot. Chase Edmonds, he was hyped up. Everybody thought he was going to. He was the man because Kenyon Drake was out this week.
Right.
But Kenyon should probably be back either this week or the next. And
even Edmonds was splitting touches with whatever their other.
Was it Eno Benjamin?
No, somebody else.
So Eno, I think, is their rookie, and I believe he was inactive.
Yeah, no, somebody else.
Okay, but.
Yeah, no, I'd pick up Drake. He's an okay bench stash.
Yeah.
I would say. Banjo, any hype for Null? There's Bears hype.
So if David Montgomery misses time, Null's gonna be the guy. Here's another note on the Bears. Their offensive line is banged up. They were missing guys. That's part of why they were so bad. Their offensive line, if you watch that game, they were getting pressure on Foles the whole game. The Titans defense is, upper half of the NFL.
Right.
So a guy who, a backup quarterback on the Bears who, and as far as backup quarterbacks go, Null has been a
running backs, you mean?
Yeah, I'm sorry to say,
say quarterbacks.
No, thank you. We're fixing each other. Between the two of us, we're going to get it right.
We know what we're talking about sometimes.
Null has been a practice hero. He's been a guy that's gotten hype in the previous years when they've had the training camp that people could go to, that people have liked. I know we didn't get it this year, but there's been a little bit of just buzz from Bears fans over the years that maybe Null's good. So
the answer's no.
Okay.
if Montgomery can't get any
but it's like a
here,
soft no, though. It's like if
firm.
you just have a deep bench and you want to just see a game, I wouldn't start him. But
if you're a Bears fan, you pick him up.
If you got a stash spot,
should I be worried about Mark Andrews?
Mildly,
I'm worried about Lamar Jackson.
I think Andrews you got to keep rolling out though, because he could get the touchdown. He's going to give you another 2 touchdown game somewhere. You know who I am worried about and I'm getting rid of all over, and I've actually seen dropped in a couple leagues, is Hollywood Brown for the Ravens. I don't want any part of Hollywood.
Just straight dropped?
Yeah. And I get it. Like, he had a couple good games at the start of the season, but he's just not reliable. You're as likely to get 5 or less points as you are to get, the big game. And I don't want to roll out a guy like that where I don't know.
That's fair. I think they could turn. They have a really easy schedule rest of the season.
Yeah, and they've played tough opponents, and they've been winning games. So they're grinding it out. They haven't been just blowing people out like last year.
If anybody needs a bye week, it's them.
Yeah.
Just to get right.
So, no, I think that Mark Andrews, I think you just got to hold and you got to ride it out. And he's still talented. He's still healthy.
All right, the last waiver guy I want to touch on is J.D. McKissick.
You talk about McKissick. He's more your guy. I know that you're starting to fall in love, but
I'm not.
His numbers are not.
What's wrong with his numbers?
They're not great. His targets this past game, I think, were unbelievable. What was he at? Or was it 2 games ago?
All right. So fantasy points this season: 5, 7, 6, 8, 11.5, 6, 13 almost for this one. But the targets per game is 5, 4, 8, 8, 6, 2, 14. So 14 targets, 9 receptions, 65 yards.
That's the lead. That's the number that you want to talk about. You're burying the lead. 14 targets in this last game. Yeah. Turn into 9 receptions. If you got a PPR league and J.D. McKissick, he's probably rostered.
But here's the thing.
You can get him on your team.
0 touchdowns. So he's doing all this with no touchdowns and only half the snap share. If he can get a little bit more snap share like this last game where he got 84%, if that's a trend that continues, then...
So those 14 targets turned into 12 points. 12 points is a decent day.
Yeah. He had 3 carries for 17 yards,
But if you can get 9 receptions and a touchdown in PPR, all of a sudden you're...
And this is half point. This is 12.5 points for half
That's
point.
the thing that you need to point out. Again, in a full PPR, that makes all the difference because...
Yeah, that's another 4 points or so.
How many yards did he have? 72 receiving yards?
65 receiving
65
yards
receiving yards.
and 17 rushing.
So I think in a full PPR, you can go with J.D. McKissick.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And it's also worth noting that the quarterback changed, and that's part of the reason why he got so many targets. So if that is now an Alex Smith thing and it continues on.
Even if it's Kyle Allen, I think it'll be fine.
All right.
NBA rig. Last year, MVP was a fluke. I see Lamar as a one-hit wonder, comp to Michael Vick, or maybe RG3 too.
You could say that if the Ravens, what are they, 8-1, 7-1?
Yeah, they're still winning games.
Yeah, they're winning games. So I get like what you're saying. He's not a fantasy MVP this year.
He's back to what he was the year before.
They're winning games.
Just messy and runs a lot.
Yeah, and when they win the Super Bowl, like I said, all of a sudden, all those numbers, you still feel pretty good about
Mooney
Lamar.
and Jamal Williams for Cooks. Yeah, I'd rather have Cooks. Are we talking dynasty or redraft? Redraft, I'd rather have Cooks, I think.
Yeah, it's probably redraft. Cooks has been good. Mooney, again, the Bears offense isn't good. Mooney had a fair amount of targets. He's
fun
looked
to think
good
about,
but Jamal Williams, I think Aaron Jones is going to be back, and that'll pretty much crush Jamal Williams' value. Aaron Jones actually did come back and play in this last game. They just didn't need him because they were annihilating the playerless 49ers. So, yeah, I think I'd probably rather have Cooks. Yeah. So if you're making that offer, we could see if they take it, but
some people that have been dropped. Robert Tonyan.
Tonyan is a guy that I may pick up to try and spot start for 1 week while Kelsey's out.
Do you trust Mooney or Anthony Miller going forward? I trust Mooney more than Anthony Miller, but again, I'm really staying away from a lot of these offensive pieces.
God, please.
Right now, it's Allen Robinson only.
Yeah.
Unless I'm just super desperate at tight end.
That's even if you're again. I wouldn't say super desperate at tight end. I'm starting Jimmy Graham over some of the. He's in that kind of second level. His points have been good. They go to him in the red zone. Jimmy Graham is not just a desperation break glass. Jimmy Graham, I think, is in the conversation of a guy that you might be trying to roll out, fairly consistently.
He's been satisfactory. Yeah, I shouldn't say that. He's been better than I expected.
Okay,
but I still don't know if I'm buying in fully. Jermichael Hasty, Panthers with the injury prone.
Man, so here's the thing about Hasty. He had an awful game. A lot of that was because of the Green Bay Packers were just blowing them out. They didn't have all their guys, didn't have their offensive pieces. They had to adjust their whole offense. Hasty is a guy that I'm not, for any reason, starting, but it wouldn't shock me if he went out there and had 20 fantasy points next week.
It wouldn't shock me, but it's going to be probably on somebody else's team. It's not going to be on mine.
I just don't think you can take but he's very much like the game script could be different. They could get their pieces back, and they could just all of a sudden, I think that whoever is the running back on that team that gets the carries has the potential to get fantasy points. And it's just hard to pick which one.
NBA rigged Adam Gase. That's why. Panther Sweat gifting 2 subscriptions. One to Banjo, one to Bear Fan Paul. Thank you very much for those subscriptions, Big Bad Brad.
Panther Sweat.
YTF for the Jets winning. Because I put a little wager on it.
So now Panther,
Brad, thank you.
Panther fan, now you can get those Bear punt updates from Bear Fan Paul for the next couple months here.
And he doesn't have to worry about trying to figure out the technology to subscribe himself.
Marcy, if you missed it, welcome in, first of all. Happy to have you.
I haven't seen you or Pocket all night.
Yep, let me, just for Marcy.
On Nick. They haven't won yet. All right.
Let's talk about who was it that was like it was the number 6 kicker on the week?
Oh, Young Ho, maybe? Marcy says, enjoy the one emote.
He's in charge of the emo, but I got you the sound drop.
Working on the emotes.
So
they're coming.
We were saying at the beginning of the show, the top of the show, for the fans that are dedicated and are here on time, that if the Patriots lose to the Jets twice, I think that they could steal the first round pick in the NFL draft, and it seems like the most Belichickian thing in the world.
Bill Belichick.
To just try and make Gase think that they're competitive and lose these 2 games and steal the pick, and then Trevor Lawrence wins them 8 or 9.
Do you think
Super
Trevor
Bowls.
Lawrence called Bill Belichick and just said, please?
I think Bill has called Trevor every day. He's just sliding into those DMs like, hey.
I think Trevor Lawrence is paying Bill Belichick to throw this season. So,
yeah, it makes all the sense in the world.
Can be on the team.
And I have, from the start of this, from just, if you go way, way back to like the first shows we ever recorded, going back to before the NFL draft, I was saying Bill Belichick will find a way to make Trevor Lawrence a Patriot. I guarantee it.
You guaranteed it.
It's happening.
We'll see if it's coming to fruition.
And he's doing it in such a way that he made it look like, oh yeah, we're trying, and like he's
things just didn't work out.
Evaluating Cam and all this, and he's the smartest guy in the room, year in and year out.
Kyo says, going forward, which defense do I start, New England or Tampa Bay?
So it depends on the matchup, who they're going against.
Let me look at schedules here.
But let's see it. I just dropped the Saints before this big defensive stand against Tampa Bay because I was worried about Tampa Bay's offense. I actually grabbed Miami's defense, who, if you looked at total scoring on the year, the Miami Dolphins defense has been putting up points, and they just put up points in this past game.
The Buccaneers.
The Buccaneers.
Buccaneers. Carolina, Rams, Chiefs, bye. Week 13 bye, which is interesting.
Hold on, are you ready for my dad joke?
Go ahead.
What's a pirate's favorite letter?
R.
You think it's R, but it's really the C. That is a solid dad joke.
I apologize.
You're welcome. You're
to
welcome.
everyone in the chat for that.
Oh, that is the best joke ever.
Marcio laughed out loud. No, don't.
Yes.
Don't help him out.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
so
I'm here all
the
all
Buccaneers, Carolina, Rams, Chiefs, bye, Minnesota Vikings, Atlanta Hawks,
The Atlanta Falcons,
and then the
Atlanta Falcons.
Detroit Lions. So that's a pretty easy finishing.
So Pocket, no, good to see you. But no, we are actually on by next week. So next Sunday, and then Monday night probably, and maybe we'll try and jump in on a Thursday.
Yeah.
So
Marcio's got it.
And that is because Christian is hurt and Pat Mahomes is on bye. So my week is just going to be a shambles.
There's nobody to love.
I'm drinking to forget. And there we go. But
all right, I'm going to check out the Patriots here now.
just slapping D's all day.
Just slapping. Oh, God.
Oh, no. So
finishing here with Baltimore, Houston, Arizona, Chargers, Rams, Dolphins, Bills. I don't like that. I'd probably go Buccaneers if I'm picking one here.
Yeah, and again, it wouldn't shock me if the New England Patriots pack it in and go for that pick.
Yep, I completely agree. I'm not excited about the Patriots defense here. It was the hotness last year, and unfortunately, it's just not doing it. Actually,
you missed all the D slapping, Marcy.
Yeah, sorry. On the Reddit regular fantasy football sub, they have the weekly DST streaming statistics basically and rankings. I use those a lot to kind of supplement my own thoughts and feelings on the defenses. But it's a good resource.
Yeah, no, a lot of the rankings I look at. I do like to look at the footballers' rankings because they have week by week. And they have actually kind of been letting me down a little bit. Yeah, they had just made a big plea that you go and get Tom Brady, and then Tom comes out there and lays an egg. So you can't always rely on him.
No.
But I like the Fantasy Pros rankings, the expert consensus rankings. I think they have hundreds of guys that are proven to be pretty decent and paying attention to fantasy football. So I'll sometimes look at that. But I will say there are a lot of things where I look at stuff and I strongly disagree with the player. Like Hollywood Brown, they've had ranked high week in and week out, and I have not been a Hollywood Brown guy. Robbie Anderson before the season was super low on everybody's list, and I liked Robbie a lot. So
yeah, if Hollywood Brown gets
you got to go with your gut a little bit too.
I do like that rest of season schedule, and I'll just.
Marcy says I'm a lonely person. Don't be lonely, Marcy. You're an addict. The fellow addicts are with you.
We're here for you. We're here for you, just not next week.
We're trying to jump in the Discord now and then. So
I'm 7-2 in my league, so planning for playoffs. Do you have any players you like for playoffs? Week 14 specifically. Man, that's so far away. But yeah, no, I get the planning. I don't have anybody specific picked out.
If you're in that kind of position, if you could get Austin Eckler, that's a guy that I might be trying to pick up if people are tired of waiting for him to come back. If he can come back, nobody on that team is really kind of taking the job where he's not going to come back and I think be the lead dog. Justin Herbert's a guy that has some soft schedule coming up, so I'm not sure where you're at. If you're 7-2, you probably got a decent quarterback, but if you were even just looking for a backup in case your guy goes down, I think Justin Herbert's schedule looks good.
I think Justin Herbert's owned.
Yeah, that's very possible.
Luton, no Pocket. We're not jumping on the Luton train yet.
No, Luton. But again, So Laviska Shenault goes down.
Sherbert.
Who Luton helps is DJ Shark. DJ Shark had a big week. They had a good connection. Laviska goes out with a hammy. I don't know if he'll be back next week. Keelan Cole had like 0 points. So if
what I'm
you got
doing
Shark,
if I'm 7-2, what I'm doing is I'm looking in my league at the teams
Booty
that
scooting
are in,
Luton, yeah.
10th, 11th, 12th that may be trying to make the playoffs still, and maybe have some injured players that they can't wait to get.
Yeah,
to
and
get
if you're in a league where maybe you're just in redraft, but if you're in a league where you can trade future picks, if you really think you got a good chance this year, maybe you sell out on next year and you give your first or second round pick for, let's say they have a stud running back on their team,
or Travis Kelce or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm looking at those teams specifically right now as I prepare for the rest of the season.
But if you're in contention this year, selling future assets, if that's allowed in your league, is something that you may consider.
You're allowed to consider that. Bambo. Also want to say Shark is going to be going against Jair.
So is it Jair Alexander? Is that right? But,
yeah.
So you got to look at the cornerback matchups a little bit. One that's really kind of dependent on who he's going against is Amari Cooper. So it's all been a mess because of the Cowboys, but when he goes up against strong cornerbacks, he tends to disappear.
Alrighty. Keelan Cole's out on waivers. Any interest in Keelan Cole after another poor performance?
No, honestly, in redraft, no. In Dynasty, I've still got him on a team, and if he shows, I don't know. He's shown out that he's got a little bit of talent, but
Tevin Coleman,
their quarterback situation worries me. Cam getting popped.
Cam just got
looks like he drew the flag.
He drew something,
but
doggy pile on Cam. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't like Cam I don't love his style and his look at me kind of post games, but he's a tough guy.
Tevin
Coleman, I think it's just that 49ers backfield's a mess, but if you're just looking for a guy who could any given week, if he could get the job and be that guy, it's a valuable spot, the running back for the 49ers. He was looking good for the few plays before he re-injured his knee.
Right.
He has been injured twice. I think they're different knees each time, so that's a concern.
Knees.
I'm not spending for Coleman, but I might, especially if you can just stash him in your IR. He's a good IR stash.
Got loaded on. MVS, any interest?
Marquez Valdes-Scantling is a good flyer. If you have you're looking for a wide receiver, your guy's on bye, and you need a plug and play, he is capable of having those big
I said it
games.
yesterday. If like Devontae is out and you need a glory play, MVS is okay to throw in there and hope you get 50 points on 3 catches. Will Fuller type
I don't think
of
he's necessarily better with Devontae Adams. I think Marquez Valdes-Scantling is better when Devontae's there.
I disagree. I think the more people that are not on the offense helps MVS.
Because Devontae Adams draws a lot of attention in the top coverage, and then it frees up Marquez Valdes-Scantling on the fly routes, and maybe he gets a big touchdown.
I'm just saying that's going to be your only way to get max
He's
points.
Mecole Hardman-esque.
Yeah, I agree with that. Wait, I think Adam Gase just got tackled by Damian Harris. Maybe. We can hope. All right, I don't see a whole lot of other pieces here on the waivers. They're pretty thin. Des Bryant, you can drop him now, right?
So now this just in, because Damian Harris has had contact with Adam Gase, he's going to be awful at football for the next couple of weeks.
Oh, really? COVID jokes?
No, just not even. That wasn't just the stench of Gase just rubbed off on him. It just sucks the talent from players and it uses it to maintain a coaching job in the NFL.
Yep. Jordan Reed. Jordan Reed.
He had He had one good game and then he got injured. He had 20 points in a game. It was week 2 against the Jets. The Jets suck, as evidenced by tonight, where they're falling into the trap where Belichick lets them win this game.
The suckier the better, says Pocket. Patriots 2020. Yep. Yep.
That makes
pretty
sense.
much what they're going for.
They're doing. I can see. I can go back to the early shows. I don't know what episode it was, but I was like, Bill Belichick will find a way to get Trevor Lawrence. I don't know what he's got to give up for it or how he's got to cheat his way to it, but he's going to do it. He's the smartest guy in the room.
Jordan Reed shouldn't be playing. Brandon Cooks shouldn't be playing.
Brandon Cooks just had concussions last year.
I said he was one hit away from being completely brain dead.
Jordan Reed. Luke Kuechly being your favorite IDP player of all time.
I know, he retired.
Shade on the
He
concussion.
retired.
You picked him up every year. He had 98 concussions. It's a record.
I didn't say I wasn't going to capitalize on it. I just said that he shouldn't be playing anymore. But it's his choice to keep playing, and I'll keep playing him. Anywho, Patrick Laird dropping him, right?
Yeah, I don't want any part of Laird. Jordan Howard, I'm dropping in a lot of spots.
DJ Dallas,
I like holding on.
7 for 31 and a touchdown.
If Carlos Hyde comes back, I'll be curious to see if it just goes straight back to Carlos Hyde or if they keep going with Carson and DJ Dallas.
DJ or Homer?
DJ over Homer. DJ has a better receiving ability.
Wait, that can't be right, Pampo. Giants signed Ray Rice to the practice squad. I got to see a news report on that. I don't believe that.
Feels like a lie.
That feels like
Taking him out with a decoy.
Le'Veon Bell.
You got bamboozled.
I think you hold Lev. They're both running backs haven't just had a game where they've been getting it going. Their offensive line has been a better pass blocking line than a rushing line. I'm gonna hold on to him.
Bambo's just trolling. Corey Davis, you dropping him?
I'm gonna hold him.
Cole Beasley.
Cole Beasley's your guy. You talk about Cole Beasley.
Cole Beasley. Let's see what he did. It's been bad. 2 for 2 for 24, 3 for 3 for 39.
And part of that is because John Brown came back. John Brown had a big game. So are you saying drop?
I'm holding him one more week and then dropping him.
All right.
We'll see what he does in the Arizona game, and then he has a bye the week after, so I might be dropping him.
Cole Beasley is
regardless.
31 years of age.
Yeah, if you're not going to start him this week, you can probably drop him. How old is he anyway? It doesn't matter.
31.
He might as well be 100. Yeah, he's 31.
I don't think he might as well be 100. 31 is not 100.
Russell Gage.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
Nah, Calvin will come back. He'll be just super great.
Laviska Shenault.
Laviska, I hate to do it, but
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
Straight dropping Laviska.
Yep. No, with the injury, if he was healthy, maybe I hold on. But with the hammy and not being great, and a
let's talk about some
quarterback.
poopers. Derrick Henry, 68 rushing yards.
Yeah, he's been a little hit or miss this year, but he has the potential to run for 9,000 yards and 18 touchdowns in a game. So I think you got to ride through the bad and hope for the good. And again, the game script in that game, the Bears were never actually competitive.
Show the dog? What dog? Do we have the dog
We
walk
need
through?
more dogs.
I don't know what they're talking about. You're done?
Antonio Brown, 3 for 31. Is this what your expectation was?
Yeah, I honestly, so it is worth noting that game didn't go the way that anybody thought it was going to go, and it wouldn't shock me if Tampa Bay gets things together. They do much better in their next game. Rojo, he didn't have a lot of points in that game, but like the runs that he does, if you watch Ronald Jones run, like he's running violent, like he's banging. And
I'm dropping Rojo. I'm just kidding.
I think
I'm not starting
I like
him,
what
though.
I'm seeing from Rojo. I wish he'd go to another team where they would use him.
Darius Slayton, 1 for 6.
Yeah, Darius Slayton wasn't good. I did grab Sterling Shepard, who had some points on one of my benches. I think he was around 14 points.
He had 6 catches for 39.
Okay, so he's getting some receptions.
Richie James on your radar for 49ers. They need catchers. Debo coming back this week. I'm staying clear.
I'm not 100% on Debo. I know that Brandon Ayuk's coming back. I don't know if you heard the report that their coach had mentioned that when he was drawing up the game script, he had designed like 84 plays to go to. Did you hear this at all?
No, I didn't see that.
He had just designed a huge chunk of the plays to go to Brandon Ayuk, their rookie that they took in the first round of the NFL draft. And it makes me want to grab Ayuk, especially if Ayuk's going to be back and Debo's going to be out.
I'm more interested in Ayuk for sure. If you can grab him now,
if you can grab Ayuk in
hurt.
Dynasty as well. Like he probably went in the second round of your Dynasty drafts for
sure.
rookie drafts. I would be keeping a hard eye on Ayuk.
Some with all the injuries there, some people may be scared and wanting to trade him for whatever value they can get from him for sure.
Yeah. But Kittle being out, just devastates their team. Kittle was the heart and soul.
Tyler
of the 49ers.
Lockett, 4 for 40. Any worry?
Tyler Lockett, minor worry. DJ Dallas, him being great, has hurt Tyler Lockett. But Tyler Lockett has also put up some huge games, and I think you got to hold him and again, he didn't crush you. What did he get, like 8 or 9 points?
49ers are toast without Jimmy G and Kittle. They were toast with Jimmy G. Kittle's cool.
Kittle was the biggest loss.
I watched the mic'd up thing with Kittle, and it was hilarious.
Worth the watch?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I would highly recommend. It was really good.
All right.
Melvin Gordon, 18 rush yards, 1 catch, 5 points.
So Melvin, bad week. And here's the other thing on Melvin. I believe when he got his DUI, the team said they weren't going to suspend him, and the NFL was going to wait. I think that trial was set for probably right around now, so like early to mid-November. So it wouldn't shock me if the NFL hands down at least a 1 or 2 game suspension for him. Could be even more than that. And it could come right when you need him in later games of the season when it's getting into those playoff times. So I'm hard passing on Melvin Gordon. If I could trade him away, I probably would.
Pocket says, is 2006 LaDainian Tomlinson available? So I saw the stat I posted in our league. I think it was what was this? Jamal Williams had 489 career carries without a fumble. He's never fumbled in his entire career. But the record is LaDainian Tomlinson with 1,001 carries without a fumble.
That's
which is insane. 3 years without a fumble.
That's pretty good.
That's a lot. 2020 has been 100 years long. It seems like it. Remember when the Niners went to the Super Bowl and now they're Pope? I am very aware of
November has been the longest year of my life.
Dave Montgomery, dropping him?
Man, I'm not dropping him. I'm holding him out. He's getting the volume. He's the only, again, we'll see if he plays or not next week. But no, David, I'm worried about. He had just an awful game, but they're getting wrecked. Hopefully the Bears make some kind of change to get some kind of life on that offense.
Godwin was active, 3 for 41.
Yeah, I don't know if you watched Godwin before the game. Also, he had his fingers taped. So I don't know if he's officially got a still broken finger, but he had 2 that were taped, and he was catching it where he would use the whole hand and like 3 fingers on the other hand in his palm. So he did have a couple drops, but like he's playing with less fingers than you want to catch a ball with.
I think Philip Lindsay has yet to fumble in the NFL. That's interesting. I don't know if
that can't be right.
I feel like I feel like he has fumbled.
I don't know about
Chicago
that.
needs another RB to the roster. They need so much more than that.
Yeah, I bet Philip Lindsay's
Zeke
fumbled.
can never fumble.
You are fake news.
Zeke's fumbled 5 times this year.
Yeah, like that was very recently.
In the stat that I read, it was Zeke has fumbled 5 times in 189 carries this season. Adam Thielen, another pooper, 2 for 38. Fulgham or Boyd?
So, a note about Fulgham. I think did I see that you grabbed Alshon Jeffrey in the league?
Yeah, I did.
And why did you do it?
Because
he's going to be back.
I was tired of seeing all these bad names
on my roster.
Nick
loves the Eagles. Nick loves the Eagles. Go Birds. He's breaking the rule. He did one rule.
No.
So Alshon Jeffrey coming back. I get it. Like I can see throwing him on a bench just to see if he comes out. He's been good when he plays. He just never plays.
That's just how thin the bench is.
So again, Alshon will be back. Jalen Reagor had a good game last week. They're starting to get some wide receivers back that are going to start pulling those targets away from Fulghorn. But I like Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, I'm starting Boyd over Fulgham always, but I wouldn't mind starting both of them.
But Fulgham has been a pleasant surprise for a lot of owners. But
for sure, and he's passed the eye test as
well.
What
are the odds that Alshon pops up and doesn't play, or like just plays one play and then decides he can't go?
Alshon, they're still paying him a lot of money.
I wouldn't be relying on Alshon.
Yeah, they're still paying him a lot of money. Gronk, 1 for 2.
Oh, Gronk, they did have one big pass. It was towards, I think, just before the half where Tom went for him. He just overthrew him by like a step or two. So if he had caught that and maybe got fallen into the end zone, that could have been a better game for Gronk. Gronk is a usable tight end. He's not, the Gronk of old, but he's out there. Tom and him,
I mean, he came off of 19 points, 17 points, 14 points, and then got you a 3 here. So he still had 6 targets, which it was just a really bad game. A
claim that Gronk ruined the game for Tampa Bay. Was he responsible for the 30-some points that the Saints put up?
Can I flex Taysom Hill? No.
You can. I wouldn't. He had a very good game. Taysom, they're using him. He gets involved. He could pass for a touchdown. He could catch a touchdown. He could run for a touchdown. Like,
get it out of here.
Any given week, he could Swiss Army knife some kind of weird points for you.
I don't like it.
Desperation play.
Ooh, that's pretty desperate, though.
How many points did Taysom Hill have?
I don't even want to look
And here's
it up.
also the question, like, is his eligibility still as a quarterback? Because if his eligibility is still as a quarterback, no, you can't play Taysom Hill. If whatever your league format is in, if they have him signed up
Superflex?
In Superflex, no, because you're playing even a bad regular quarterback. You put in the gluten, and he's way better.
I agree.
But if they have him listed as like a wide receiver or running back, maybe you throw him in your flex.
Taysom Hill is a tight end. If he's got a tight end,
if you got a tight end eligibility, you could take a chance. Tight end would be the best eligibility.
I'm more interested.
Just Googled it. Okay.
Pocket says he's right. 0 career fumbles. All right, we'll keep an eye on him.
All right.
Google never lies. James Conner. James Conner, 4 points.
James Conner. Maybe a trade for James Conner, honestly.
Oh, D-Hop, 3 for 30.
You talking? These guys. So luckily he didn't show up against me. That was part of the reason that helped me beat Nick this week. Was DeAndre Hopkins
didn't show up.
He had that first game of the season where he had 14 targets. He had good points, and there's been less of that now. But
No, he just went off the week before.
Kyle Fuller has been very good.
Kenyon Drake. What about Kenyon Drake?
Kenyon Drake, stash him on a bench if you can grab him. If you got an IR slot and he's still the IR eligible.
I'd never say the sentence, Pats are losing to the Jets. I know.
Again, on purpose. This is all part of Bill's plan.
I bet on him, too.
The smartest man in the NFL. He's got a plan. And it's all coming together.
James Conner, trade for James Conner. He's had a really good season. I'm
going to send
much better than I thought.
Send the girly for Conner offer right now. And I don't think they'll accept it.
Yeah, they probably won't accept that.
Maybe they're angry at this week. Maybe he cost them the week. Maybe
finish up with Washington, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Indy, Cleveland. Not a great schedule, but again, their offense is really, really good. As long as Big Ben can stay healthy and relevant, then they will be fine. Alrighty, I think we are actually going to wrap up early tonight.
Yeah, so we can just catch every moment of this game. No, we gotta jump in and grind those levels in Apex. The new battle pass is it's tough to get those levels.
Yep, and I gotta do a little.
All right, so do we throw Jerry Jeudy into the conversation? So for James Conner, Jerry Jeudy and Todd Gurley, I'm sending it.
Okay, so this is where I've been struggling lately on trades. Like, there's people I know are more valuable, and I'm losing value in the trade, but it's still pieces that I may not start.
Well, if you can trade two valuable guys for one guy that upgrades you at a position, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get us a better tight end. I'm trying to get us a better running back.
It thins out my depth, but
we're getting later in the season and we need less depth. And Jerry Judy's just going to sit on our bench.
COVID really throws a wrench in that, but
does it still? Is anyone still concerned about COVID hurting?
Well, if your player actually gets it, then they will be out. Where would you rank Josh Allen in the MVP race after I think he's leading the MVP
5?
race.
No. Josh Allen? No chance.
Yeah.
No.
Why not?
Because Aaron Rodgers is there. Because
you have
Dalvin
a really
Cook
good
is
quarterback
there.
from the Bills. The Bills never have anything nice.
Yeah, but he hasn't been good enough to just be like, oh, this guy. Like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is doing it by himself. Dalvin Cook's putting the team on his back and literally just running the team to victory.
Yeah, but they're always going to give it to a quarterback over a running back.
I don't know, man. If Dalvin keeps up the streak of these, like Dalvin has been real good, and on that Vikings team, like he is the most valuable player on that team. We can all agree by a mile. Undoubtedly,
probably. Yeah. Is this a sign of things to come? Derrick Henry only no. Bears are bad or are a tough defense, but no, they just didn't need to do anything. The Titans have not looked great often, but it's fine. Mahomes will get MVP. I don't see Mahomes getting MVP. He had some rough weeks there. In the
whatever
middle.
team, if they compete and they go to the Super Bowl, that
So the Jets get a touchdown here at halftime. Right before
who's going to be the MVP? It's going to be Russell Wilson, because everybody, like all year, if you watch every show, ESPN, all the things, are like, can you believe that Russell Wilson hasn't gotten an MVP vote? Blah blah. Like,
so let's give you some.
They're going to overcorrect and give it to Russ.
Give you some stats before half here. Damian Harris, 8 carries, 24 yards. Jacoby Myers, who I saw at the top of our waiver list of getting picked up, 7 catches for 93 yards. So Cam Newton targeting Jacoby Myers heavy and often. And a really good first
Jacoby
half.
Myers was a little bit relevant a couple weeks last year. N'Keal Harry is going to come back probably next week. Edelman, I'm not sure if he's going to be back next week or not. N'Keal Harry hasn't been good. He was a highly touted rookie 2 years back and hasn't really come to fruition.
So I pulled the trigger on the trade. We're talking about DK in here. I offered Nook and Robert Woods for DK Metcalf in Dynasty.
That's an interesting trade. So Nook is Hopkins, for those of you. I don't know if everybody's familiar with that nickname. I hadn't heard it until I heard you say it, man.
Really?
No.
Oh.
But
that's really well known.
So
Bear fan Paul, Russell Wilson is a likely pick. I agree.
Yeah.
Bear fan Paul, you got gifted a sub by Panther Sweat.
So no ads now.
Yeah, no ads for you. So Panther Sweat, thank you again for that. I don't think Russell will get it. I don't think he will either. I think if Josh Allen keeps his pace up, I think he is the early leader at this point.
It will still depend on the rest. It's not a foregone conclusion yet. It'll depend on what Russell does. But if they can string together some wins, get into the playoffs, he's been very valuable for that team.
So if you started Crowder this week, he just got you a 20-yard touchdown. So Crowder getting you a score before halftime.
I did trade away Crowder to my brother, so I got Higgins and he got Crowder.
Cook gets the fantasy football MVP. Yes, I agree. Buffalo goes 14-2. Easy. If they go 14-2, he'll be the MVP. Tanyan or Mark Andrews? Last question for me.
Mark Andrews.
Rest of the season, Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Lazard will come back for Green Bay, and Tanyan is really inconsistent.
Yeah. Josh Allen could get hurt. He does kind of run, and he doesn't always slide, but he's a pretty durable guy.
Yeah, and I think Mark Andrews is still having enough good weeks, and the good weeks are big enough that I'm still rolling him out there. It's kind of a lottery ticket, but you got to pay that price, unfortunately.
That is true. So
Denzel Mims, 4 for 62 in the first half as well. So that's promising to see.
Yeah. Mims, again, it was a talented, had good draft pedigree. People were talking him up before. I thought maybe the Jets I didn't think they would be as pitiful as they have been. I thought maybe Lev would be okay.
Maybe if Pittsburgh goes undefeated, all bets are off.
So
Des Bryant
was demoted.
I don't think that'll happen.
Des Bryant was demoted back to the practice squad. I do not believe he will be on the active roster next week.
Campo with the trolls tonight. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Can we get the Nightbot to bounce that guy? Come on now.
Oh, man. Trying to just think Ray Rice got signed. Bad. All right. That's pretty much all that's happened for this game. Michael P. Ryan, 5 carries. Frank Gore, 7 carries. Both for not a whole lot of yardage, so nothing exciting there. Joe Flacco with 2 touchdown passes in the first half. So if you, for some reason, flex Joe Flacco, you're all right. Holy crap, just noticed I'm VIP.
Oh, yep. For sure.
I did pass out some VIPs.
Come on now. Yeah.
This weekend, and also I think I added a couple more things you could buy.
There you go. Send your money to the fantasy.
Oh yeah. So I included a $10,000 IRL voice band.
Oh.
So you can. I think you can. I haven't really set it what I thought we would do yet.
That's pretty neat.
I don't know if we would ban one of us from talking for 3 minutes or what it would be. But
then people are just going to use them all on Nick in a row and it'll be the mic show.
Well, I made it 10,000. That's fairly expensive.
Ooh.
And then I put $50K for a VIP. So if you didn't get a VIP and you would like to earn one, or if we reset them very often, you can use them for that.
Great deals everywhere.
You guys gonna get a shirt and hat line? We gotta get a lot more followers for that. I think Mike can wear a fancy shirt instead of the fancy football shirt.
I'll just hand drawn.
We'll probably get some for ourselves.
We'll make you like a custom cheese head for Marcy.
NBA, great show. Catch up on the. Thanks, buddy. Invite your friends.
Yeah.
More.
So again,
we won't give out all the
streaming
secrets.
Live on Twitch.
We'll do it live.
But we are going to try and throw it up on YouTube. So if you do happen to stumble upon the show on YouTube, you can join Twitch. It's free to get the app on your phone. You just make a profile and then you search.
I gave it to you, NIU.
Fantasy Football Addicts, and then you find ours. You got the logo. You see it up in the corner, the football and crossbones. And you can find us there. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. If you just want to listen to the audio, if you're driving in your car, mowing your lawn, things like that.
Thank you to also
all the socials.
Thank you to the followers as well. Brian Keode, and then the subs that Panther Sweat passed out.
QIO'd.
Replying to you're already VIP. Exactly. You're already VIP. So you can bank them, and then if we have to reset the VIP points in the future, you can purchase it. But it's for some new people to grind towards. But anywho, if anybody has last minute questions, get them in now. Because the game.
Yep, 9 more followers to 200. Nick said he'll gift a subscription.
I'll gift a subscription 8. My counter is at 192, so we need 8 more.
We need Marcy to tell all of her Last of Us friends that they need to come watch the show.
Last of Us, Among Us,
Last of Us,
whatever.
Last of Us is a different show.
Yeah,
or a different game.
It's all the same. But
what year is it?
Exactly.
All right. Well,
thanks for hanging out with us.
Yep.
We'll see you in the new studio.
Yeah, that's the plan. So
job's done.
Could be a thing.
Banjo, before we finish, Rivers or Mullins and Superflex? Rivers.
Yep.